The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, this is Tom Lane, DM2 Software's Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I would like to welcome everyone to today's Sales Order Dispatch Manager webinar. Before I introduce today's presenters, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. Because of the number of attendees we have on today's webinar, everyone's phones will stay on mute. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter them into the question window that you see in the lower right of your screen. We'll try to answer everyone's questions at the end of the webinar. If we're unable to get to your question, we'll follow up with you individually after the webinar. Today's webinar is being recorded. As soon as the recording is available, we will post it on our YouTube channel, and we'll put the presentation material on our website. And I'll send you a message to let you know when they're available to be downloaded and viewed. On that note, I would like to introduce today's presenters. We've got Roxanne O'Brien, our Executive Vice President, is going to be taking a assistant presenter role here and mainly be available to help Cade with the Q&A portion. And the main presenter today is Cade Evans, a professional service consultant. And Cade's ready to give you an overview on our new Sales Order Dispatch Manager feature. Take it away, Cade.
Thanks, Tom. Welcome, everyone. Well, let's just jump right in with the agenda. We're going to give an overview of the reason behind this and the business cases for this feature within the product. Then we're going to talk about some of the product features, the setups and processes that are part of the requirements, as well as what the outputs are. And then some examples, go through some examples that accomplish the business cases or reasons for the development of this feature. And then review some of the transaction process flow in the actual software so you can see how that works. So let's get started. This feature was created to provide a new way of handling viewing and pricing and creating sales orders and quotes. Prior to this feature, there really wasn't a way to view purchase prices across multiple different pickup points within the system. And there also was no way to easily create a sales order based on the price you were looking at on the screen. Previously, you would create the quote or order, and then when you entered the product on the item screen, you saw the price during sales order entry. With this Sales Order Dispatch Manager, you now can see your cost and the customer's price across multiple racks. This ability is what addresses the business cases. You can now see the best cost-price relationship so you can make better dispatch decisions. Because you can see all this at a glance, you're in a better position to win new business, and perhaps most importantly, keep the business of your current customers. Here we see a sample screen of the Dispatch Manager. You can see that multiple products and terminals are displayed for this customer. The products down that first column under item code, and the terminals across the top, several, in this case, 3 terminals are displayed. You can save this so the same terminals appear when accessing this customer and ship to in the future. You can also add or remove the pickup points as needed. In the lower left corner are options to create a quote or an order based on the prices displayed in the screen. This tool requires minimal work to set up. For each customer, you simply choose the carrier, product, and then add the terminals to be included. Take note that the cost and price here do include the freight, but not the excise taxes associated with the given product. It's probably obvious, but I do want to point out that all this information flows from other areas within the system. So price tables associated with your supplier, your freight setups, price tables, and customer pricing. If any of those areas setups aren't completed, then this is obviously going to impact how this tool can be used. To create a quote or an order, you first select an item and a terminal combination, as you can see highlighted here. When it's selected, that field becomes yellow, as you see. Then, when you click on the respective button, either quote or create order, a order or quote is created based on those selections. Here you can see that the pricing and freight populate the lines of the automatically created sales order. Also included are the vendor number and pickup points selected in the Dispatch Manager. You can also go into the Dispatch Manager and choose the previously created quote or order. So if you need to make a change or something. In this example, you see a previously created quote or, a previously created order that can be changed and then updated, or a quote can be converted into an order, among other options. You can also create an order in Sales Order and then dispatch it by pulling it into the Sales Order dispatch screen. After choosing the customer, choose the order by lookup or entry, or entering the information from the sales order, and then that pulls all the information from the sales order into the screen. The font is in blue, which indicates that it's from a previously created sales order. Here you then choose the terminal source to fulfill the order. As a part of this development, full price lookup feature can be found in AR Customer Inquiry. It shows the pricing breakdown and total. Here it does include the taxes, and in what we are looking at, you can see highlighted items that make up the price displayed in the Dispatch Manager screen, which is the product price and the freight. Now let's take a look at the software itself. So Sales Order Dispatch Manager is found under Petrolink, Main, Sales Order Dispatch Manager. Now, if I've got customers set up already and I want to do some dispatching to a customer, I can use the binoculars and it will only bring up those customers and ship tos that have previously been set up. If I want to set up a new customer, then I choose a customer number or I can enter the customer number as normal or use the lookup class. So for this customer number and ship to, I can enter the effective date for this order and the effective time, which is obviously going to go and interact with my price tables and bring me back the price that is in effect for that date and time. I choose my carrier, and if I have dispatch screen, we've got ticket class, which is a feature in version 2013 to interact with our dispatch scheduler. Right now I've got 5,000 quantity in this particular screen because that was saved as a typical order quantity, if you will. For additional products, I simply add the amount that I want to send to that customer. And then, as I said before, if I wanted to choose, as I'm looking this over and I see the greatest cost to price spread, you'll notice the C and the P. Cost obviously stands, or C stands for cost and P for price. If I'm looking for the greatest spread, I find it, and then I can select it and it highlights it in yellow. If I want to add additional terminals, I simply click the Add button, and the additional terminals are displayed that I can add. Now the cost and price breakdown for each of those products is viewable for me here. I can create a quote by hitting Create Quote, or I can create an order by hitting Create Order. What that does is it launches the sales order screen, and it's warning me here with this message that I've got two product lines, or lines of product, but I haven't selected them all. I'm going to proceed because I do just want to send the product 168 at this time. So now it's writing this data over to the sales order screen, and it will pop up a sales order and tell me about the credit history. So now I'm in that sales order, and if I go to the line item, I can see that it's added the product, the freight for that product, and some additional fees that are associated with this particular customer, load fees and an environmental fee. These are miscellaneous fees, as you can see. So anything I've associated within the system that would normally be an automated process as far as adding fees or whatever runs through that same process and adds it just as if I had entered this in sales order in the first place. Now, if I instead go into sales order, and I create an order ahead of time, Again, it's giving me the customer credit issues. I can enter the PO numbers, all that information that I would normally enter. And then I come to the item screen, and I choose the item that I want. The customer has ordered 2,500 gallons in this case. And then I accept. And my order number is 18682. So then if I come back to my sales order dispatch manager, I can choose that customer. Oh, except for I chose too much there. Let me just choose this way.
Just put in the order number, Cade.
Oh, that's right. That's the fastest way to get there. Thank you, Roxana.
You're welcome.
There we go. 682. I'm going to look it up. So there's my order. And I think that that was a drop ship. Okay. Let me try. So if I add a terminal for this, then I get the cost and price. And this one was a 0 entry on the order as far as the quantity. And then I can update the order. Oh, I got the wrong item code. That's a problem. Let me, I apologize. Let me create a new order here.
That might be why you're getting the error without the PO.
Thank you. Come on. Okay, let's see if it works this time. Something This is a shared database, and something might have changed since I was last in here. So let's choose. It's not liking that one for some reason.
What he's trying to show you is you can do one of two things. As a dispatcher, I could be sitting here in Sales Order Dispatch Manager, and as the customers are calling in their orders, I can be generating them right here, identifying the rack, the supplier pickup point based on the best cost, best price, and select that. Or I could have a CSR entering sales orders, and they're not going to be selecting that supplier rack because we don't know what our pricing is going to be tonight. So they could be entering them either in sales order or sales order dispatch manager. And typically we'll set up something like a to be determined so dispatchers can see, oh, the truck and driver is to be determined on this one. We haven't finished dispatching. So they can pull it up in dispatch manager by the order number instead of by the customer shipped to. And that would be based on the report they have. Then after pulling it up into Sales Order Dispatch Manager, tonight's prices have come in. They can make a choice as to what supplier pickup point they want the driver to go to and pull the product for that customer for that delivery. And it then writes it to that sales order, recalculates the freight, etc., based on the one they select. Want me to keep going, or do you want to take it from there?
No, I can pick up from there. Thank you. So
You're welcome.
it offers you the flexibility. We know that all of our customers operate a little bit differently, and so it offers you the flexibility, like Roxana was saying, to start in one place or the other, and you're still going to have the power of seeing the best spread between cost and price, including the freight, for dispatching to that customer. So as I mentioned in the presentation, the other part of the feature is in accounts receivable. So if you're in customer inquiry and you wanted to see a price for a certain customer, you can look up and see the entire, I guess, all the pieces that make up that price. So in the customer account inquiry, you go to pricing, and this full price lookup comes up. We choose the ship to location, the item code, and it immediately goes out and looks for what pricing is set up for that customer ship to location for that item. And then it shows, you can see down here, it gives me my product price and my fuel tax. Now as I add information, then I can get additional information in this window. So if I choose my vendor and the pickup point, and the carrier, then it goes out and it grabs the additional freight information of 5 cents per gallon. And again, if I want to get a total price, say they said, well, what's my price going to be if I order 2,000 gallons, I can enter the quantity here, and then once I move off of that field, it goes out and recalculates for that quantity, product price, freight amount, what is the total price. And then, as you remember, there were those fees for this customer and ship to, the Texas load fee as well as the environmental fee. That shows here as well under the invoice fees field. So that is...
Yeah, before you close there.
Yep. We get back.
Yeah.
Come back here.
You can get to it either from the AR customer and or from the ship to file itself for the customer, either place. If you go from ship to, it'll fill that in. So go ahead, ship to and the item back in, and let me show a couple things here real quick.
Okay.
Okay, and just select your item, yep. Okay.
Do you need the vendor pickup point carrier in as well?
No, we're okay. Okay, so one of the nice things about this too is the product price. We look at it, and in the world as we've always known it, we have to go to a couple of places to go figure out how did it price a customer. If you click on the little green icon to the right, it will show you exactly how this system priced that customer for that item. So we know it was tied to this table. There's what the base was. Here's what their markup was. If I switched items, it would recalculate the price, and it again show me how was the price for that item calculated. Same thing with the fuel taxes, the FT button down there. If I click on that, it's going to show me the details of their taxes. So this tool not only will give you, what the price, what the taxes, what the freight, what surcharge is, all of the pieces, but it will also show you how each one of them was calculated. And if I'm talking to the customer, again, right here, it's very easy for me to switch what item, or I could switch which carrier. I could switch the variables based on the particular circumstances and how do I get product to that customer. So it gives you everything you need for pricing a customer on an item right here, specifically for fuels, but it will do lubes as well. But, since we're kind of focused on fuels, that's what we were showing. Same thing for the fees. If you click on the icon down there, it'll show you the couple of fees that are associated. So you have the details.
Good point. Thank you. I appreciate calling back to that because that is very helpful. Like you said, it's useful for lubes, but because so many different pieces go into pricing fuel, including the taxes, it's less easy to track that down than it is to go and find out how lubes are priced.
Yep. Gives you all of the pieces right in one place.
So that is the feature. I'm going to turn the time back over to you, Tom.
Actually, could I show a little bit more about Sales Order Dispatch Manager for you?
Certainly.
Okay. So, Kate has done an excellent job in showing you the feature itself of Sales Order Dispatch Manager. Kate, could you close this and go back into Sales Order Dispatch Manager, and let's pull up the one that you created.
Okay. My eyes are getting worse. I need glasses. There we are.
Yeah, it's an old age. I'm getting younger, and you guys are all getting older. That's the way it is. Okay. It's good sales order. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's find that one that you created. Okay. Or we'll create a new one. All right. So as Kate was saying, what's cool about this is typically I'm going to have this template built. And Kate, if you actually take the corner and pull it out, show them we're able to have a number of racks on here. So I may have 5 racks for this customer that I typically look at. I may have 2. I may have 7. Just depends upon what you want to do. Now, when I look at this as a dispatcher, I'm able to look at both my cost with freight and my price with freight and surcharge. So in this case, if I look at the top one, the customer's price is the same all the way across. So that means they're probably tied to something like Opus or a particular rack or what have you. So their price is the same, but my cost is where the variable is. So I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, okay, that middle guy is the best one for me to go pull the product. Now I have a second product here, and typically I may be pulling my gasoline products from one rack, and I may pull my diesel from another. That's okay. So, Kate, let's put in your 4,000 gallons for the 168. Okay. And for the diesel product, I'm going to go to Citgo. So the first one. So I'm going to highlight that one. So now I've told the system where do I want my driver and or my common carrier to go pull the product. So go ahead and create the order. And when you go into sales order code, click on the icon so it does the wide body version for me.
Okay.
Right there. Perfect. Okay. So now, if I were to look on here, I'm going to see it's saying the ship date and time based on what I selected. So you see I said 3:12, and I click on the clock. It will show the time that I said. So this is all information that I can now be printing on my order for my driver or for my common carrier. Say OK right there. Okay, let's go to lines. Okay. Now, if I wanted, I could pull this information up, but click on line 1, and over on the far right-hand side, go down a little ways, and you're going to see right there. We have the vendor number and the pickup point listed, and it's by line item. So not only do I now have my freight and surcharge on my order, so I have my full price, but I also am saying to my carrier or my driver, here's the supplier and pickup point. So on the sales order form, we can now print by line item. Instead of the numbers, we can print the supplier name and the pickup point or terminal. I can also, by pickup point, store loading numbers. So on that same sales order, I can be printing the loading number. Again, telling my driver or common carrier where to go pull the product and which loading number to use. So we're able to communicate better information via our sales order to our drivers. And again, we've got freight and everything. Of course, you all know that we now have the ability to flag freight to either roll up or not. Surcharges in the newer version can also be shown either as a separate line item, rolled up into freight or up into the product. Now, I have my order ready to go. What am I going to do with it? I needed to get it to either my driver or to my common carrier. So say accept right here. And I'm back out to my screen. If I click on email or fax, okay, right here, one option, before I did that, I could have printed it off to that printer that's sitting next to somebody in the warehouse, and the drivers all get it. I could email it if I have a remote driver, or I can email or fax to my common carrier. Now, Kate is typing an email address in here. In vendor maintenance, for my common carrier, if I store their email or fax numbers in the vendor record, it would also be available right here based on the carrier that I entered in my sales order dispatch screen. So instead of Kate having to type it out, he could have just checked that one. Then I would say send, and it would now send this delivery out to my common carrier, my remote driver, or whoever I need to email or fax. I could email it to my sales rep or a couple of other people while I'm at it, again based on customer or contact setups. Did you leave that email? Wait. Oh,
nope,
okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to send it. That's okay. You're probably not set up to do that. Anyway, by clicking on, sure. So I could have typed subject in there. I can have some default data and everything. Click send, and it emails it out for us, and then brings us right back to here. So as a dispatcher, it is helping me to become more efficient in my job, and first identifying where I should pull the product, and second, getting that delivery information out to my drivers or common carriers. I can, as Kate was about to show with an existing order number, if I set up like a terminal to be determined or what have you, so that way when I'm looking up my reports, I see as a dispatcher, oh, I haven't really dispatched these yet. Then I could pull them up in here when my pricing comes in at the end of the day, reevaluate, and then make my selection, update my order, email it out, and again, everybody has the updated information to make the delivery. So that's kind of an overview of the business reason of why we did this and how it can be utilized to help us to become more efficient in making those decisions and getting the deliveries out to our drivers. Okay.
Thanks, Roxanne. I appreciate that.
Sure. You're welcome.
Tom, I think it's back to you now.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we get into the Q&A portion of today's webinar, I would like to just bring one thing to everyone's attention. From time to time, we get calls, and people just don't know who to go to within DM2 for, a question regarding their maintenance, question regarding their upgrade. So what we've done is we've put together a DM2 contact channels guide and put that up on our website. So you're actually looking at a screenshot of our website. If you hover over the Contact Us there, you'll see the drop-down menu will appear, and you can link to this document, the DM2 Contact Channels Guide. And again, this basically spells out everybody within DM2 that you would contact, and specifically for what topic you'd contact them for. So we found that to be, customers are finding that to be very helpful. The other thing that it includes is it covers how we rank and prioritize support cases as they come in. We often get questions from customers as to, what criteria do we use to rank them. And this document actually gives you some examples, and it tells you how we rank them, and it basically describes how cases flow through our support department and get resolved. Now, the one thing I'd also like to point out is from time to time, the descriptions of the problems that come into us don't necessarily scream, rank 1, priority 1. So a lot of times they're prioritized as 2 or 3. Now, we have the system built into our help desk management software, which, by the way, is Sage CRM, the same CRM package that comes standard with our system and what our customers are using for their sales and marketing activities. We've tailored it for our support agents to use. So when they log in those cases, it'll generate an automatic message acknowledging that your case has been received and what priority it's been given. You have every opportunity to get back to us and say, this is more urgent than I may have led you to believe with my initial request. So please keep that in mind. If you feel that the problem is preventing you from doing business, that's basically the description of a rank 1 or priority 1 support case. So we encourage you to take a look at that when we send that back, because again, we're going off of the original descriptions that we get, and sometimes those don't necessarily, say that you're having such a problem that you can't do business. So I want to make sure that you know that you have every right to help us reprioritize your cases for us. So I encourage you all to visit our website, download a copy of our contact channels guide, and take a look through that. But as I said, it basically covers pretty much every scenario that you need to contact us and who specifically you contact for that information. So that's all I have now. We are actually going to take a break next month from the webinars. We'll have our next webinar in May. We're usually doing the second Thursday of every month. So sometime shortly I'll be sending out an invite for the May webinar. And now we'll open things up to questions and answers. And we do have a couple of questions that are coming here. So let me go ahead and, excuse me, one question so far. Actually, this question comes in from Lisa at DM2. She's asking, did you say that the vendor name and pickup description are going to print on the order? The driver isn't going to know vendor number and pickup code.
Yes, it will print the supplier name and the terminal name description.
Okay, excellent. All right, that's all the questions that we have so far. I know how that goes. It's a lot of information to digest. After you've had an opportunity to kind of, collect your thoughts and review what we've presented here. If you have any follow-up questions, please contact us at sales@dm2.com. And as I said earlier, I just want to remind everybody that today's webinar has been recorded. Once the recording is available, we'll post it along with a copy of today's presentation material on our website and the video on our YouTube channel. And I'll be sending out a message probably tomorrow or Monday at the very latest to let you know when those are available. And as I said, if you can think of any questions after the webinar or like to find out more about today's topic, please feel free to email us at sales@dm2.com. And I would like to thank Kate and Roxanna for doing such a nice job on their presentations. Thanks for jumping in there, Roxanna. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending today's Sales Order Dispatch Manager webinar. Thank you very much. That concludes today's webinar.